happy Monday to you. I'm Jeremy, and this is another edition of Taylor Tips, and I'm excited about this week's message because it speaks to a particular group of people. With basketball season underway, I felt like, hey, it'd be a great opportunity to use social media as a leverage to speak to the hearts of a lot of young people and hopefully impart some wisdom and help them get their mind right heading into the season so they can essentially be more effective for their team and to just keep their focus forward as they grow through the season and keep the main thing, if you will. Now, of course, this can apply to middle school athletes, high school athletes, college, even professional. And there's many of you watching this video who have grown through some of the same obstacles and situations and circumstances and challenges as an athlete. And you could share some of these same tips as well. And some of you will probably be able to relate. And if so, share this message with someone that you know. But I have a vested interest in basketball because that's what I played my whole life. Very fortunate to be able to play all throughout grade school and compete at the NAIA Division I level and had a blast. Learned a lot along the way. And very fortunate that I had a chance to step into coaching afterwards. Coaching high school boys and girls basketball. And so this message is really geared toward high school basketball players. Now again, like I said, it could apply to athletes of all ages. But going into this particular season, I thought, man, this is a great opportunity to speak specifically to them and share some things that I feel like can help them grow. So here's 8 things, and I'm going to share a growth tip at the end as well. But here's 8 things that I think can set you up to be the most effective player and athlete this season. Number 1, trash your ego. What I mean by that is you don't know everything. You don't know everything there is to know about the game. You're 14, 15, 16, 17, maybe 18 years old. And so humble yourself and understand that you are where you're at right now for a reason. And the particular people that are placed in your life, especially coaches who are overseers, right, to help facilitate and manage and direct you and to coach you and to teach you, they're there for a reason because they're qualified. Now, I'm not going to go off on some tangent and talk about different people and their experience level and what you think about your coach. That's not for this discussion. What I'm saying is under the particular position that you're currently in, trash your ego and be teachable and be coachable and be willing to learn and understand that also trashing your ego means being able to handle constructive criticism. That everything should not be taken personal whenever you are directed or corrected on something. It's to help you get better, not only as a player, but as a person. So throw your ego in the trash can. You don't know everything there is to know about the game of basketball. Step into this season with a teachable, coachable spirit, ready to learn and to get better, right? Number 2, be a great teammate. And what I mean by being a great teammate is it's one thing to be a good player. You know, you're essentially going to help your team by becoming better yourself. But people today do not understand how valuable it is to be a great teammate, to be positive, to be encouraging, to make sacrifices, to put yourself in a position to help your team get better, right? To focus on things outside of yourself so essentially you can build relationships and community amongst your team. This could be a segment on its own. Being what it looks like to be a great teammate. But embrace the fact that you're not the only person on the team. Everything isn't about you. That ties into ego, right? And know that you're a part of a collective experience. This is much bigger than you. You are part of the equation. So know your part, understand your role, and do what you can to be a great teammate. Number 3, never underestimate what an extra 15 minutes before practice and an extra 15 minutes after practice can do for your game. You know, it's the little bit of extra that people put in by themselves. It's the extra shots. It's the extra sprints. It's the extra game film that they watch. It's the extra post moves that they work on or the extra free throws that really gives them a winning edge when it comes to their competition on a consistent basis. So be willing to do a little bit extra on a consistent basis if you want to be an extraordinary player. Number 4, do the little things as well. You know, sometimes we get so wrapped up in this culture because of what SportsCenter highlights, the winning shot, the 42-point game, or you understand what I'm saying. and we fail to realize that it's a lot of things that are done behind the scenes that gets jobs done well, right? And when I talk about behind the scenes, not necessarily behind the scenes here, yeah, that goes back to my previous point of doing a little bit extra before and after practice. But in this case, do the things that don't get on the stat sheet. Be the person who slides over and plays help defense. Be the person that blocks out. Be the person that shadows the basketball on defense and gets deflections. Take pride in doing the things, doing the dirty work that other people don't want to do, because I guarantee you it'll get you more minutes on the floor, because every team needs people who don't mind doing the little things that essentially win basketball games when it really comes down to it. Number 5 is learn how to be present. Learn how to focus. Learn how to be in the moment. So oftentimes in the middle of a game, you have players looking up in the stands, worrying about what their mom or dad has to say about the previous play. All right? And life happens. Listen, I understand. We have responsibilities and obligations that come before sports. That's why it's called an extracurricular activity. So there are things from a faith perspective, a family perspective, an academic perspective that should always be put first before your athletics. But you've signed up, essentially, you've agreed, you've committed to an allotted amount of time, and you've committed to put forward your best effort every day, right? For the most part, for the next several months. So when you're there, be all there. That situation with your boyfriend or girlfriend, you can handle it when practice is over, right? The homework that you didn't get finished before practice, hammer it right after practice, okay? So when you're there, be present, be in the moment, be focused on what matters. And what matters is you doing what you can with what you have, where you're at, to get better today. Number 6 is ask questions. Coaches, how beautiful will it be if a player came to you and said, Coach, what can I do to move the ball down the field, so to speak, to help our team get better this year? What activities, what roles do you feel as if I need to really focus on getting better at in order to become a better player, but also to help our team get better? What about that? I've always said, if you ask good questions, you get good answers. And sometimes we're kind of floating around doing our thing, just trying to get better at what everyone else says we should get better at, but we really never tap into doing what we're good at and really embracing the role that we should be embracing to help our team get better. There's so many people, so many athletes that I could reel off and name off who were phenomenal athletes, even Hall of Fame basketball players, because they did their job well. And why is that? Because they embraced their role. Chances are they probably asked the appropriate questions. So ask your coach, how can I get better? What do I need to work on? How can I help my teammates get better? Number 7, have fun. Have fun. Yes, it's work. Yes, there's a responsibility. Yes, there's accountability. Yes, it's not always easy. There's going to be some challenges. There's going to be some things that you don't want to do. But if you want to win, if you want to get better, if you want to be a part of a championship experience, if you want to be a part of something that you look back on and say, that mattered to me, that was a meaningful experience because together we did something special that we couldn't do by ourselves, here's what has to happen. You got to have fun. You got to keep the main thing, and understand that, yes, I'm a competitor. I like to win, right? I'm a champion. Hopefully you are too. But at the end of the day, quit worrying about the stat sheet. Quit worrying about the win and loss column and focus on getting better, going hard, having fun, and doing what you can to encourage your teammates to become better as well. The whole win and loss stuff, that takes care of itself if you compete. And you know what? It's so much more fun to compete than it is to not compete. And then last thing is become a better student of the game. I'm not saying that you have to be the greatest basketball junkie of all time, be in a gym 24/7, have the TV on, watch every single game on a Saturday. I'm not saying that. What I am saying though is, listen, you need to be learning from people who are better than you are. You need to be learning from people who have more experience than you do. What does that mean? Sit down and watch some basketball from time to time. If you get your homework done, turn on the tube, watch a great game. Throughout the course of the week, look at team schedules and say, hey, that looks like a great game. 2 top 10 teams that are ranked. I should probably check that out. I should study how they play defense. I should look at some of their tendencies. I should probably look at how he interacts with his coach. I should probably look at what are the shots that they take at certain times of a game. You know, I remember my dad telling me stories when I was younger about how when I was really little, we would watch games and I would say, Dad, why did that person go here instead of going there? Because if he did this, he probably would have had an open shot. Or, Dad, how come he didn't hustle back down the floor whenever he had the ball stolen from him? You know, and I just always had a knack for the game, really enjoyed it. But I've always learned, you know, I was that kid that grew up and I wanted to be like Mike, just like everybody else. And so guess who I watched? Mike, all the time. And then one to grow on, a bonus tip is understand the influence that you have within inside of your school system. You have no idea the number of kids that are walking the hallways today that would love to be in your shoes, that would love to be able to do what you do. And maybe some of those kids they're just not as athletic as you are. Maybe they don't have the skills and the talent that you have. It could be kids that from a financial or economic perspective, their parents, you know, don't have the ability to put them in a position to play. You know, those things happen as well. Or it could be a situation where, you know, parents just don't approve of allowing them to do certain things. Whatever the case may be, understand you have a certain level of influence in your school and you need to embrace that and you need to use that in a very positive fashion, right? Eyes are on you. People adore you just because of what you can do. So be a good student, right? Support other sports in your school. As a team, go to soccer games, go to volleyball games, go to football games, right? Support other people in school so other people in school this is reciprocity. Other people will want to support you because again, this is much bigger than just the X's and O's. This is about you becoming a better person. This is about you having a meaningful experience and adding value to your peers where you're at. And people are going to remember those things. People are going to remember whenever you stopped in the hallway to say hello the day after you had a great game, right? Versus rushing off to your class and not slowing down long enough to say hello to somebody. Or, you know, whatever it may be. It's the little things that matter. Use your influence. And then in closing, I just want to share this quick tip with parents. Parents, first off, student athletes, thank your parents for putting you in a position to play. It takes time, energy, resources, right? There's probably a lot of prayer that goes into it as well. There's a lot of things that happen that give you are privileged. Athletes, never forget that. This is an opportunity. This is a blessing. Don't take it lightly. But parents, on that note, I just want to encourage all of you, being a player, being a coach, I want to encourage all of you to respect your school systems, respect your coaches, and have their back. Support them. Their job is tough enough as is. They certainly don't need any extracurricular stuff that they have to deal with. Now, granted, there are some situations where maybe your child is in an unhealthy situation. You have to intervene and tough conversations have to be made. I get that. But for the most part, the best thing that can happen is for you to support your students, right? Your athletes, your sons, your daughters, and also let your coach know that you're in their corner. All right, be a positive voice instead of a critic all the time. And you know, gosh dang, it's just, I don't even want to dwell on that. I don't want to go into that and go on a tangent. I just think it's so important to realize that in order for people, especially students, for you all to get better, you all need positive examples. Parents, that's where that comes in. You know, and a lot of times, parents get really caught up in wanting their child to have the best experience to a degree, and that's good. You should want your child to have a great experience, but never to a point where you go to the extremes to remove every single obstacle from their life, transferring schools, going here, doing this because you think they're going to get more playing time or they're going to get more notoriety from the newspaper or the media. So just keep that in mind. And sometimes, you know, removing those obstacles and those challenges really hinders your sons and daughters, and granted, listen, I'm not a parent just yet, so I get that. And I understand that maybe what I'm sharing right now, will fall on some deaf ears, and that's okay. But I really think it's important to understand that by working so hard to remove all those obstacles and challenges, sometimes and it's all well-meaning, what it does is it doesn't allow your sons and daughters as athletes and ball players to grow through some things, to have to figure some things out on their own, to have to tough out some situations where maybe they're not getting the playing time that they want. And they have to learn how to work harder in practice, or they have to learn how to become a better teammate, or they have to learn how to become a player who shares the ball in order for us to have a winning experience and a better season, for other people to get more. Whatever the case may be, I'm just saying, parents, understand that everyone has a role in this scenario. And if everyone embraces their role, just like I talked to the athletes a second ago by saying, I think everything stays on the up and up, and everyone has a chance to grow through this particular time and this particular season. So listen, that's a lot of content. That's a lot of tidbits, a lot of nuggets, a lot of things I threw in there, but I didn't want to leave anybody out. So that said, I hope this message today and this week, it finds you well. It serves you well. And as always, to dream is to do. Nothing happens until something moves. And if you're not having fun, you're not doing it right this season. Good luck and God bless to each and every one of you. And I'll see you next time, guys. Love you.